How's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the basic setup to VIRL 1.0. Now, this just came out today. I got the email this morning. This is actually Thanksgiving Day, November 26, 2015. So, when I got the email, you had to go online and follow a link, and then you had to copy and paste a verification, like an MD5 hash, if you will, into uh, uh, a field into a web page. Click submit, and then you would get your download link, and then download it. It's about a 4.6 gigabyte file. I downloaded it and I put it inside of ESXi just to get everything operational. So once you go to your file and then you go to deploy OVF template, you point vSphere to the OVF template and then you bring it in. It takes a few minutes to upload and then you're good to go. What I did from there, I gave it 32 gigs of RAM, and then I already had the port groups already in place. And then because I already had VIRL running over here, which is 9.2, I was able to get everything in here pretty quickly, and I have all the port groups here as well, and everything is good to go. So what you do here is you click on the console tab, and then it brings up this guy here. This is when you first boot it up. If you didn't already know this, you would type in VIRL in all caps. Hit enter to log in. Now I'm going to walk you through the actual steps to getting this guy situated, so that you guys will know how to do this. It's very, very simple to do so. It will definitely be beneficial if you know how to do this and get everything operational, because then you'll be able to get VIRL to a working solution relatively quickly. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go in here and get everything situated with setting up the static address and stuff like that, because by default the address that you're going to point, or the web address it's going to be pulled from, is going to be via DHCP. If you have the ability to do this, you're going to go ahead and set everything up the way you need to. So what I'm going to show you before I do this, 'cause this is actually already all set up, I'm going to point you in the right direction in how to set this up, and then we're going to go from there. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the website is actually right here. We're going to pop this guy in right here. You pop in viral-dev-innovate.cisco.com and hit enter. And because I am installing via the vSphere client, and this is the thick client, okay? Give that a minute to pull that information up. And as soon as that pulls up, we'll be in good shape. Alright, so it pulls it up, and then from here what you need to do is follow this link. If you're clicking on here, you would just select wherever you're going to install VIRL to. This is where you would do it, and come down here to the bottom a little bit. One thing that I want to make sure that you do know is VIRL is not supported on AMD, so it only supports Intel VT-X, which basically it allows you for hardware-assisted virtualization. So we're going to come down here, make sure you deploy the OVAs you need to, and then can create your network port groups. Come down here to the actual deployment, and then we're going to go ahead and go through the static configuration. So this is where you would download this. I'm actually got this pulled up on my other screen. I'm going to walk you through this process. It's actually very simple to do. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this guy as well. You're going to double click on Xterm, and we're going to follow the configuration as we need to. We're going to type in sudo space nano space /etc /network /interfaces, and hit enter. And as you come down here, you're going to see that as you could tab down to the bottom to where you would see Ethernet 0. So right now you're Ethernet 1. And then you come down here, you see that I have it set up the way that I do. If you can't see that, I will help you out with that. I'm going to pull up the magnifier. If I could spell, that would be great. There we go. So let me bring this up to make it easier for you to see. So here it says auto Ethernet. You're going to type in iFace Ethernet 0, iNet space static, and you're going to type in addresses 192.168.1, or in my case, this is the address that I choose to use. And then you're going to say the net mask and then the gateway, and then that's going to be what you need to type in. As soon as you're done here, you're going to click inside of it. You're going to press Control C to break out of it, and then you're going to say Y to save. Or actually, sorry, I'm sorry, Control X. Control X to break out of it, and then press Y to save it. We're in good shape there. Then you can go ahead and click inside, and then you're going to be brought back up to display here. So I'm going to bring us down to where we need to go. I don't have anything going here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on you would type in, at this point here, once everything is situated, you would type in sudo reboot now. You would hit enter. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot it. I don't have anything running, so I'm going to go ahead and just reboot the VM. It doesn't take very long at all to come up. And as soon as that guy comes up, we'll be in pretty good shape. And then I'm going to show you guys how to set up the activation for VIRL. It's pretty simple to do. I'm actually going to run through the configuration again so you guys can see how that goes. Like I said, it was already running. I'm just going to show you guys how to do it real quick. It's very, very simple to do. Now, while I'm also showing you this, I'm going to give you guys some insider information that you may or may not know about this. So I'm going to click on, pull up my vSphere client, and I'm going to come down here to where the VIRL, okay, so this is VIRL 1.0. Click on summary. You see where I have the flat port group right here, right? This flat port group is essentially just a bunch of ports that have been placed inside of a VLAN on this particular switch. You can consider a port group as a block of ports that have been allocated to a group of virtual machines, one or more VMs. Now the flat can be is a label for easy identification for you and I. We're human, so we don't. If there was, you could turn flat into binary if you wanted to, but flat is easier to read for you and I. Well, flat is the name of the port group: flat, flat1, SNAT, and interface. The drawback to this, though, is that when you're going through your setup, all of these guys right here are actually in the same VLAN. So what I do here is, because the flat is very, very important, because once we get into the VM Maestro and we start setting up, pulling out different images for VIRL, and whether it's ASA, iOS, Nexus, or it's iOS XR for dealing with the service provider track, regardless of what your needs are, if you were to take and click on the flat, which is this guy right here, if you were to click on the design and click on flat, this is like putting another network adapter inside of that particular VLAN. What you're doing here is you're effectively adding the ability to take an external device and bring it into VIRL. So the idea here is, once you've taken external, this L2 external flat, you click it in the, it's like if you're familiar with GNS3, it's like having a cloud that you connect into GNS3 to be able to bridge your connection from GNS3 to the internet. You can do the same thing in VIRL. You bring this guy out, you click it on here, and then what you would do is you would take ASA, click it here, and then you would do connect, and you connect this guy to here. And then what you would do, once this guy's all situated, is you come in here and get it situated where you would see what the whatever port on a particular virtual machine you put inside of the flat port group, you would go into and see whatever MAC address is associated to that that network adapter, so that VNIC, and then you're able to go in there and put that VNIC and give it an IP address inside of the port group, inside of the flat port group, which is 172.16.1.0/24. So as long as it's somewhere in that range, you'd be able to talk via the ASDM to this particular ASA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on here, and I'm going to show you guys how to set this up. It's actually very simple, but I'm going to come back here to VIRL. I'm going to type in all caps VIRL and click login. That's the most common question I get when I'm setting up VIRL. whether I'm showing a group of students in a classroom or whatever the case might be. This is how it actually breaks down. So I'm going to go through the actual setup again. I'm going to click on Xterm. I'm going to bring this guy up, and I'm going to bring it at the very top so you guys can see the most here. So I'm going to type in sudo app-get space remove space -y open SSH -server and hit enter. Okay, so basically it's taking whatever is there and it's removing it, and we should be in pretty good shape here pretty quick. So okay, now it's done. Now I get to hit the up arrow. I'm going to pull the remove out. I'm going to put install in. So install, right? I'm going to hit spacebar and hit enter. Now it's going out and it's getting all the updated information, and so we'll be in pretty good shape here. So now we've got that piece down. The next thing is going to be to type in is to make sure that KVM acceleration can be used. KVM is going to basically what you're going to be using to manipulate all of the different VMs that we're going to be deploying, which is the port group that we just, or the ASA that we just deployed, as well as the flat external cloud that we connected just a moment ago. So we're going to type in sudo kvm-ok. It says KVM acceleration can be applied, or can be used. If it doesn't show that, you need to enable hardware acceleration to be used inside of the VM. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to do a ping, and this ping is going to be out to Cisco to make sure we can talk to it. Now I know all this stuff is going to work, so I'm going to walk you through the steps. Ping-c for www.cisco.com and hit enter, so we can reach out to Cisco's website, cisco.akamaiedge.net. We're good. The next one here is going to be curl http://curltools.com/get-ip. Now I'm not going to hit enter with you live here, because what this is going to do is it's actually going to do a call out, and basically it's going to be what an ipchicken.com is going to do. It's going to show you your public IP address. I don't want you guys knowing what my public IP address is. I work in network security. That's a security flaw to me. So I'm not going to show you that. I'm actually going to pause the video while I do that. Okay. Well, that worked out. So I'm going to continue on. And I'm going to continue going down here. Now, the next one is going to be here is to use the NTP query tool. The NTP query tool is going to be what is needed to make sure the VIRL can reach out to an active NTP server to make sure everything is good to go. Because in order for your cryptography and your RSA key to work correctly, you need to reach out to make sure your NTP and make sure your time is correct. So sudo ntp q-p. Okay, you see right here at 108, this guy right here, this star is the important one, because this tells me that I have an active connection. So this basically indicates a peering relationship has been established. This is completely or totally necessary. If this is not working, then you know there's a problem. So at this point here, everything else is good to go. If this problem, there was a situation that popped up where you weren't getting this, you'd have to follow the NTP configuration to make sure you're reaching out to the right destination addresses and stuff like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to worry about activating VIRL. And activating VIRL is actually pretty simple. We're going to go back to our Windows VM, which I don't know if you didn't know this. This is a actual Windows VM. So we're going to click on UWM. We're going to click on VIRL or VIRL server. We're going to click here and we're going to go down to Salt configuration and status. We're going to click on login. So the password is UWM admin and the password is password. I'm sorry, the username is UWM admin and then the password is password. We're going to click login. That's going to let us log in. Now I've already gone through this process already, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's actually pretty simple to do because I know everything's going to work. The couple things that you need to do when you go through here is we're going to go to reset keys and ID. Alright, so what you need to do is in here, and I'm not going to show you all the details to this because I don't want to give everything away, but the ID that you're going to get a thing called a PEM file. The PEM file is going to be included with your download. You're going to take that information. It should be a text file that it'll come down, and you'll have to tell, in my case, Microsoft, how to read the file if it doesn't already know how to do it. You're going to take that information, and you're going to take that ID file. So it's going to be, this is my ID, which I'm not afraid to show you this stuff because you're only going to be getting part of what my information actually says. You're going to come in here, you're going to plug this information in here, minus the .pem part. The .pem is your encryption key. You're going to type in the email address that you use to purchase VIRL with, the salt master, and then eft.pub for your master signed public key. And then once you have those three pieces of information plugged in, what you're going to do then is you're going to double click on that PEM file. It's going to open up your notepad file, and you're going to get a bunch of gobbledygook, which is going to be basically what this guy is right here. You're going to have that, and I'm not going to scroll over or down because of the fact that I don't want you guys to see my private key, but you're going to see this information right here, and this is what you're going to copy and paste in. You're going to open up your notepad doc. You're going to Control A to copy all the information in. You're going to Control C to copy it, or sorry, Control A to highlight it, Control A to copy it, or Control C to copy it, and then Control V to paste it here. And you're going to click on reset at that point. Okay, it's resetting the key there, which means everything should work here momentarily. And it says it's resetting. It does take a couple of moments for this to actually kick in. And alright, so it says everything's stopped, everything's good to go. And then once you get this output, this means everything is good to go. All these green boxes are good things. Down here it says that contact with Solid Master required in 7 days, which means you could power down VIRL if you're not using it, power back on in 6 days, and bring it back up. Now, what if you don't do it in that time frame? That's okay. As long as you entered all the correct information in, as soon as it calls out and it does its thing, you should be fine. Just be aware of updates and stuff like that. If you're not sure what's going on, Google it. We're going to click on check status now, which is going to be a quick check, and then it tells me that everything is good. So all of my information is legit, and we are in good shape. So now what I get to do is I get to go down here to node resources, click on this little drop down box, and click on images. Now from the images thing here, we have ASAV, and then it's on 951-201. CSR 1000B is on 316. You'll see that we have iOS XR is on 5.3.2. iOS V is on 5.5.3. iOS V2 is on 5.2. NXOS is on 7.2. So on and so forth. So you get a lot of capabilities that are good here. And from there, what we'll be able to do is actually come up here to this guy. And if we were to, let me back all this out here and hit the enter key. If you go back just to the public to your IP address you configured earlier and click on VM Maestro clients and Python libraries, click on here, and then down here you'll see VM Maestro -dev 1.2.4.363 setup 32 or 64, whatever operating system you happen to be using, or if you're using Linux, you can do that as well. This is what I would do. I download this. It's going to allow you to download it because this is the Apache Ubuntu server that you're running. Click on this guy, and this is where we'll get into the part where we'll talk about actually setting up VM Maestro. This is VM Maestro. This is how you go in and you actually set stuff up. So if you're familiar with GNS3, the actual Dynamip server is what allows you to run the virtualization on your computer with your GNS3 devices. GNS3 is the front end to that, which allows you to do the same thing we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Power On. I'm going to click on OK. We're going to say Schedule, and this is from my personal computer. We're just going to close that out. Topology.1 VIRL, that's fine. And it's going to go ahead and it's starting the simulation as we see it. So everything's loaded up. So as you can see over here, ASAV-1 is absent, and down here it's starting node. So we'll go from absent to building here momentarily. This will go to a blue button, and then once it's to a certain point, then it'll go to green, which it's green now. So once you're in green, and this is my personal version of VIRL, so what I'm going to show you here is how to set up the terminal clients. So if you would click on here and go File, go to Preferences, there's two things I'm going to show you. It's the Web Services one. Click on Web Services. One of the things you need to do though is when you set this up, during the initial setup, you're going to get a pop-up window. This pop-up window is going to say, what is the IP address of the host? So what is the server that's actually going to be running all these simulations on? You're going to pop that IP address in there and you're going to click OK. If something happens to where you miss that step or you click cancel or whatever the case might be, if you go to File, Preferences, click on Web Services, and then in where it says Roster, Simulation Engine, OpenStack, and AutoNetKit, if you click in here and you type in the IP address of the host and click on each one of these, click on OK, you should get 4 green check marks, which tells me that everything is good to go. If you get that, you know you're in good shape. The guest, don't mess with the guest. I never do. Just leave it at the defaults. The next one is going to be terminal, which is going to be how you determine how many the buffer lines, and then you click on Cisco terminal. And then what we're going to be using is, by default, it's set up for use internal terminal view. I've already got it set up for secure CRT. So these are the configurations. So you can feel free to pause the video and look those up. This is the information you're going to need to set secure CRT up correctly. Secure CRT, at least as far as I've been able to figure it out, is the only way you can actually get this stuff to work in order to be able to use the configuration as it sits. Okay, so if you don't set this up correctly, like for instance, if you're using Super Putty or some other another tabbed variation, you won't be able to get this to work. So Secure CRT is the only one that will allow you to do tabbed emulation inside of VIRL, and by doing this, you have to actually click on Use External Terminal Applications, Secure CRT, click on Apply and OK, and then we should be in pretty good shape. Now here's the interesting part. Because we have FLAT1 on gig 0/0, the external address is 172.16.1.53. It's active. So if we were to right click here and go to Telnet to the port, here comes this guy. We're going to close these guys out. And it does take a moment for this guy to come up, so don't freak out if it doesn't come up right away. I'm going to right click here, I'm going to go rename. I'm going to type this guy as ASA1. I'm going to click on OK. And then what I'm going to wait to do here is while this guy is doing its reload, I have to wait till he's up and running. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over to one of my other virtual machines and click on this guy. And we're going to click on Close, Close. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, from here, I believe local area connection 7. If we were to click on local area connection and details, 1010, no, that's not it. It might be, let me actually go back to my ESXi environment. I'm going to click on inside summary. I'm going to click on edit settings. I'm going to go click on flat, and the MAC address is 8EC6. I'm going to click OK there. Click back on my virtual machine. I'm going to click on local area connection 2, details, 172.16.8EC7, CRC 8EC6. That's the IP address. I'm going to click on OK. And right now he does not have a dedicated connection. So what that basically means to you and I is back here inside of VIRL world, and on Secure CRT. Okay, so it's rebooting. So basically what's happening now is we won't be able to connect to the box for the moment, which is okay. We will here momentarily. So as we're going through here, you'll see it's actually pretty simple to get this stuff working. You just have to know what you got to do. So what I'm going to show you guys how to do is I'm going to bootstrap this particular ASA. These ASAs do not support multi-context mode. So it's going to be for those of you like me that are studying for your security CCIEs, you won't be able to perform multi-context mode in ASA here. But that's okay. I'm not really too concerned about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here, and we're going to, once this guy's done loading, I'm actually going to close out the magnifier. Okay, we're at ASA. We're going to type in enable, and then you don't have to type in a password. Password is not enabled, or isn't there by default. So we're going to do a show interface IP brief. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to interface gig 0/0 and type in IP address is DHCP. Type in name if is going to be management, and no shut. Do show, or I'm sorry, show interface IP brief. It got an IP address from .53, which is that address right there. So now what I should be able to do from, and actually let me back out real quick. I want to type in username is Rob with a privilege level, or I'm sorry, a username Rob, password Cisco, privilege level 15. I'm going to say that the HTTP server enable, HTTP, and then the address that's allowed to reach out to this guy is this management, because this ties back to the name if. The name if has to match. If it doesn't, you won't be able to authenticate to it. We're going to type in the that the AAA authentication for HTTP is going to be console, and we're going to use the local database to log into that, and that's pretty much all we have to do. So now we should be able to go back over to this guy, click on the exit here, click on the ASDM, let him launch real quick. Okay, there it goes. We're going to click in here. We're going to say this is .53. The username is Rob. The password is Cisco. It did work in that regard. We're going to click on continue. And now we should be able to launch the ASDM from VIRL. But that's because of the fact that this particular virtual machine has a network adapter that is inside of the flat port group. So when you go back to VIRL or to vSphere or here, as long as you have a virtual machine, whether it's a Linux box or it's a Windows machine, when you're in the Edit Settings tab here, if you were to create a network adapter, and then when you're in here, make sure the network connection network label is flat. Click OK. That's going to add it, which we're good. You'll be able to come back over here to this guy, and it says there is no active platform license installed. That's fine. Do not show this message in connection. And then it's going to download the information. So what this is going to allow you and I to do is you're going to be able to learn how to use ASA through the ASDM. And for those of you that are interested in knowing how to set up this via SSH, you'll also be able to do this. Type in the host name is going to be ASA1. The crypto key generate is going to be RSA modulus 1024. Yes, I want to create new keys, so the keys have already been created. And we're going to type in domain name is going to be test.org. And now what we're going to be able to do is that basically enables SSH. We're going to be able to type in SSH, and then the address that we're going to be able to reach this SSH from. So we're going to type in 172.16.1.0/24 on the management interface. So then we're going to be able to take this guy, and then we'll be able to actually, I don't have SSH here. I'll actually click on refresh now. That's okay. So what I'll have to do is I'm going to actually have to download SSH real quick, and we'll be able to SSH into the box from there. And we'll actually have to enable SSH from the command line as well. So I'll have to type in, actually SSH has already been allowed. So actually authentication, no it's not. AAA authentication is going to be SSH is going to be console, and then we're going to type in local, and that's going to be where we're allowed to connect into it from. So let me do this. I'm going to pull in SSH from a computer, and okay, and so we made a change. So we're going to say refresh now, which allows SSH to be allowed. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to pull SSH PuTTY to this device, and then we're going to go from there. So here we have putty. It's we're all good to go there. So we're gonna no, I want to minimize this one, but I want to close this guy out. We're gonna say that the IP address here is 172.16.1.53. We're gonna use SSH. We're gonna click on open. We're gonna say yes. We're gonna type in Rob, and the password is Cisco, and we're here. Type in and then we're in. So we're at the ASA, and if we do a show interface. It's a little slow. Show interface IP brief. We have that IP address, and if we were to ping 172.16.1.100, let's see, it's gonna play. Okay, that's fine. That's not too concerned. I'm not too concerned about that. The point is we're SSH into the box, so we're in good shape at that point. So and you don't have to worry about typing in the password because there is no password for the enable. It's the only time if you were to have that going on is if you were to go here to the console and type in enable password is say Cisco, and then if you were to go to AAA authentication is, and as you can see, as every time I make a change it pops up here, and then you're able to say enable here, type in enable, and then you go console and type in local. You'd have to be going back to the local database in order to log into the enable. I'm going to actually say no to this and no to this, because you don't have to worry about that at that point. No enable password. So we're going to click on refresh now. So now we're in the same shape. Everybody's happy, and we're in good shape at that point. So this is the ASDM. It allows you to log in and take a look at this stuff and go from there. So that's pretty much where it sits. I hope this has been informative for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.